The shuttle landed on the surface of 9 with a low hum, stood up from her seat and looked out the small window. The Galactic Coalition Military Academy spread across the moon like a metal forest. Tall buildings rose from the ground. Ships moved in the sky above. Soldiers from a dozen different worlds walked the paths between structures. Was 22 years old. She had dark hair tied back in a simple knot. Her uniform was clean but plain. She carried one bag over her shoulder. Everything she owned fit inside it. She was the first human to ever walk through these gates. The shuttle door opened. Cold air rushed in, stepped out onto the landing pad and immediately felt eyes on her. Alien eyes, dozens of them. A group of cadets stood nearby. One was a nearly 3 meters tall with skin like stone. Another was a with folded wings on her back and eyes that moved too fast to follow. A serpent like a coiled beside them, tongue flicking in and out. They all stared at. Then the made a sound deep in his chest. It took a moment to realize he was laughing. She walked past them without a word. The orientation ceremony took place in a great hall built from black metal. 500 cadets stood in rows, stood at the back. She was the shortest person in the room by far. Commander stood on the stage. He was tall and broad, with 4 muscled arms and skin that glowed faint blue in the dim light. His voice filled the hall without any need for speakers. "You are here because you are the finest warriors your worlds have produced," he said. "The Academy will test you. It will break many of you. Those who survive will become the sword and shield of the Coalition." His glowing eyes swept across the crowd. They stopped on. "This year we have been ordered to accept a new species into our ranks." His voice grew cold. "Humans." The hall went quiet. Every head turned toward. Commander stepped down from the stage. The crowd parted for him. He walked until he stood directly in front of. He was so tall that she had to crane her neck to look at his face. "Tell me, human," he said, "what makes you think you belong here?" Said nothing. She kept her eyes forward. "Look at you," raised one of his 4 arms and gestured at her. "No claws, no fangs, no armor on your skin. Your bones break like dry wood. Your senses are nearly blind. You cannot see in darkness. You cannot hear beyond a narrow range. You cannot smell danger approaching." Some cadets laughed. Others whispered to each other. "Your species needed machines just to leave your own planet," continued. "They were traveling between stars when your ancestors were still throwing rocks at each other." More laughter. Leaned down until his face was close to hers. His breath was hot and smelled like copper. "So I ask again, what makes you think you belong among warriors?" Met his eyes. She did not blink. She did not look away. "I am here to learn, Commander," she said. Her voice was quiet but steady. Stared at her for a long moment. Then he straightened and turned away. "We shall see," he said. "We shall see." The ceremony ended. Cadets filed out in groups, talking and laughing, walked alone. An instructor named stopped her in the corridor. She was thin and moved like water, her scales shimmering green and gold. "You have been assigned to Barrack 7, said. She handed a data pad. "Your equipment will be delivered tonight." "Thank you," said. Did not leave. She studied with eyes like yellow glass. "I have read about your species," said. "You are short. Your bodies are weak. You feel pain more than most species. You have no natural weapons." She tilted her head. "Why did you come here? Why suffer for something you cannot achieve?" Put the data pad in her bag. "Because someone had to be first," she said. She walked away before could respond. Barrack 7 was on the far edge of the academy grounds. It was old. The walls had cracks. The heating system made strange noises. This room was small, with a bed that was too short and a window that did not close all the way. Her equipment arrived an hour later. The armor was a generation out of date. The weapon was scratched and dented. The boots did not quite fit. Laid everything out on her bed and checked each piece carefully. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Park, the human liaison at the Coalition Embassy. I heard about the ceremony. That was unacceptable. I am filing a formal complaint. Had no right to single you out like that. Typed her reply with one hand, while adjusting her bootstraps with the other. Do not file anything. I am fine. You should not have to endure this treatment. The Coalition promised fair treatment for human cadets. I said I am fine. There was a long pause, then another message. What are you trying to prove? Looked out her broken window at the Academy grounds. Cadets from a dozen species walked under alien stars. None of them looked toward her barracks. None of them knew her name. She typed her answer. Ask me again in 6 months. She turned off her communicator, lay down on her too-short bed, and closed her eyes. Tomorrow training would begin. Tomorrow they would try to break her. Smiled in the darkness. Let them try. The first month at the academy was designed to break cadets down. Every day brought new tests. Every test brought new pain. For every test also brought new failure. The strength trials came first. 50 cadets stood in a long hall filled with weighted bars and lifting machines. Each machine measured force in units that did not fully understand. She only understood that her numbers were always the smallest. The named went before her. He was assigned to her training unit, which meant they would share meals and quarters for the year. He was 3 meters tall and built like a mountain. His stone skin cracked when he smiled. Gripped the bar with one hand. His muscles did not even flex. He lifted 300 units without effort. The instructor recorded his score with approval. Next, the instructor called. Stepped forward. The bar felt cold in her hands. She pulled with all her strength. Her arms shook. Her face turned red. The display read 97 units. The cadets behind her laughed. Made a rumbling sound in his chest. Perhaps she can lift my breakfast tray, he said, more laughter. Set the bar down and walked to the back of the line. She did not speak. The speed trials came next. The course was simple. Run from one end of the training field to the other. The fastest time won. A named went first. She was lean and quick, with wings folded tight against her back. Her eyes were silver and always moving. She ran the course in 4 seconds, her feet barely touching the ground. Other species followed. They slithered at speeds that made eyes hurt. With 4 legs crossed the field in 3 great leaps. Turn came. She ran as fast as she could. Her lungs burned. Her legs ached. The timer stopped at 19 seconds. It was the slowest time in Academy history. Sub-instructor recorded the result. Perhaps the human can walk the course next time, she said. Her voice was flat, but her meaning was clear. The sensory trials were worse. Cadets entered a dark room one at a time. They had to identify objects placed around them using only their natural senses. No lights, no tools. Species with echolocation mapped the room in seconds. Those with infrared vision saw body heat through walls. Some could feel vibrations in the floor. Others could smell the metal of hidden traps. Stood in the darkness and saw nothing. She heard nothing. She reached out with her hands and felt only empty air. When the lights came on, she had found 2 objects out of 20. Commander reviewed the results with the other instructors that night. His voice carried through the thin walls of the training hall. The human cannot run. She cannot lift. She cannot see in darkness. She cannot hear approaching threats. Her combat scores are the lowest in every category. There was a pause. Perhaps she can be taught to clean the barracks. Heard every word. She was doing pull-ups in the corner of the training yard. Her arms screamed for rest. She did not stop. Combat training was the worst of all. Each cadet faced 3 opponents in hand-to-hand sparring. No weapons, no armor, only skill and strength. His first opponent was a young He moved like water, his tail sweeping her legs before she could react. She hit the ground hard. The match lasted 6 seconds. Her second opponent he did not even fight. He simply grabbed her arm and lifted her off the ground. Then he set her down gently like she was a child. "I do not wish to break you," he said. There was no cruelty in his voice, only pity. Her third opponent with silver eyes, moved so fast that could not track her. One moment was in front of her. The next moment was on her back, staring at the ceiling. "How do you breathe so heavily?" asked, looking down at her. "We barely started." That night sat alone in her barracks. Her body was covered in bruises. One eye was swollen. Her ribs ached when she breathed. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Lee, a human scientist on the Coalition's Xenobiology Council. "I heard about your scores. The instructors are sending reports to the council. They want you removed from the academy." Typed slowly, her fingers hurt. "Let them send their reports. You do not have to prove anything. No one expected you to succeed. You can come home with honor." "I am not leaving." A long pause, then another message. "They do not know what they are looking at. They measure you by their standards. They see only weakness." Another pause. "Stay the course. They will understand eventually." Read the message 3 times. Then she turned off her communicator and stood up. Her body begged for rest. Every muscle ached. Every joint felt like it was filled with broken glass. She walked to the training yard anyway. Sub-instructor found her there an hour later, was running the speed course again, not fast, but steady, 1 foot after another. Watch for a long time. Finally she spoke. "You finished last in every trial. Your combat record is the worst in Academy history. Tomorrow will bring more tests. You will fail those too." She paused. "Why do you persist?" Kept running. Her breath came in short gasps. Sweat ran down her face. "You will see," she said. She did not stop running until the sun rose. The instructors checked the training logs the next morning. Had spent 9 hours in the training yard. She had taken no rest days since arriving. When injured, she bandaged herself and continued. Her wounds healed slowly, but she ignored them. Commander looked at the data for a long time. "Interesting," he said quietly. No one heard him. The Endurance Crucible was the Academy's most feared test. Cadets had to march 200 kilometers across the acidic salt flats of 9. No vehicles, limited water and food, 48 hours to finish. Every year cadets failed. Some gave up. Some collapsed. Some had to be rescued by medical ships. The Crucible was not about strength or speed. It was about survival. 50 cadets stood at the starting line as the sun rose. Commander walked before them, his 4 arms folded behind his back. "This is not a race," he said. "This is a test of will. The salt flats do not care how strong you are. They do not care how fast you are. They only care if you can endure." His eyes found in the crowd. "Some of you will not finish. There is no shame in this. Know your limits." The signal sounded. The cadets began to march. They took the lead at once. Their long legs covered ground quickly. Their stone-like skin protected them from the acidic dust that swirled in the air. They spread their wings and used short gliding bursts to save energy. They moved in groups, taking turns at the front. They slithered with smooth efficiency, their scales sliding over the rough ground without friction. Walked, she did not run. She did not try to keep up with the faster species. She simply put one foot in front of the other, again and again. By hour 6, the first problems appeared. They were fast, but their bodies burned energy quickly. They needed more food than they carried. Their leader was already slowing down. "We must rest," said. His stone skin was darker than normal. His breath came in heavy gasps. His group stopped. They sat in the shadow of a rock formation and ate half their remaining food. Walked past them without stopping, watched her go with confusion in his eyes. By hour 12, the Academy began receiving emergency signals. Collapsed first. His species could not regulate body temperature during long physical effort. Heat built up inside him like fire in a stone oven. Medical ships came and carried him away. 3 others followed within the hour. Kept walking. By hour 20, they were struggling. Wings cramped and locked against her back. The muscles that powered her flight were built for short bursts, not endless use. Pain shot through her body with every step. "I cannot continue," she said to her group. Her silver eyes were dim with exhaustion. The medical ships came again. Walked past the landing zone. She did not look at the fallen cadets. She did not slow down, one foot in front of the other. The instructors began to watch her closely. "Check her vital signs," ordered. A drone flew beside and scanned her body. The results came back strange. Her heart rate was high but stable. Her breathing was heavy but controlled, and her body temperature had actually dropped. "That is impossible," said. "Physical effort produces heat. Her temperature should be rising." The science officer checked the readings again. "She is sweating. Her body is releasing heat through water on her skin." Stared at the data. No other species at the academy could do this. Most species panted or sought shade or simply overheated. The human body was cooling itself while it worked. By hour 30, only 18 cadets remained on the march. Was still among them. The other cadets looked at her differently now. She was not fast, she was not strong, but she was still walking when stronger beings had fallen. By hour 40, only 3 cadets remained. Was one of them. The other 2 were with cybernetic legs and with 4 natural legs. Both species were known for endurance. Both cadets were elite soldiers. There was struggling. Even with 4 legs, her muscles were failing. Her body was not designed for this kind of sustained effort. At hour 44, she collapsed. Her legs simply stopped working. She fell face first into the salt and did not move. Medical ships carried her away. Now it was only the had an advantage. Her legs were machines. They did not tire, they did not ache, they simply moved. But machines had limits too. At hour 46, they stopped walking. Warning lights flashed on her cybernetic legs. The joints were overheating. The motors were failing. "No," she said. "No, I am so close." Smoke rose from her knees. Her legs locked in place. She screamed in frustration as the medical ship descended. Walked past her, she did not speak, she did not slow down. 1 foot in front of the other. The finish line appeared in the distance, a simple marker in the endless of the salt flats. His body was beyond exhaustion. Her feet were blistered and bleeding inside her boots. Her legs felt like they were filled with fire. Her vision blurred at the edges. But she did not stop. She crossed the finish line at hour 47. She had been walking for nearly 2 full days without sleep or extended rest. Commander was waiting there. He had flown ahead to watch the end of the crucible. Stopped in front of him. She was swaying on her feet. Her face was pale and covered in dried salt. Blood had soaked through her boots. "Congratulations," said. His voice was quiet. "You are the only one to finish." Looked at him. Her eyes were red and tired, but something burned in them. "I told you I was here to learn," she said. She fell to her knees. Medical officers rushed forward to help her. Stood in silence for a long time after they carried her away. He had seen many things in his years as commander. He had trained warriors from a dozen worlds. He had watched the strongest and fastest cadets the galaxy could produce. He had never seen anything like this. The human had no claws, no armor, no special senses. She was slow and weak and fragile. But she did not stop. Looked down at his 4 hands. He thought about all the tests he had designed to measure strength and speed and power. For the first time, he wondered if he had been measuring the wrong things. Commander could not sleep after the endurance crucible. He lay in his quarters and stared at the ceiling, thinking about the human girl who had walked for 47 hours without stopping. The next morning, he called a meeting of the senior instructors. "I want everything we have on humans," he said. "Their biology, their history, their everything." Sub-instructor looked surprised. "Commander, they are a minor species. Their file is small." "Then make it bigger. Contact the archives. I want to understand what we are dealing with." The archivist arrived 3 days later. His name was. He was an ancient species known for keeping records. His body was thin and pale, and his eyes had seen 1,000 years of history. Carried a data crystal that contained everything the Coalition knew about humanity. The senior instructors gathered in a secure room, stood at the front and began his presentation. "Humans evolved on a planet called Earth," he said. "Third planet from their sun. It is a death world." Leaned forward, "Explain." "Earth has extreme temperature changes, massive storms, earthquakes that destroy cities, floods that cover continents. The planet is constantly trying to kill everything that lives on it." Paused. "Humans survived anyway." He showed images of Earth, mountains covered in ice, deserts where no water fell for years, oceans full of creatures with teeth like knives. "Humans have no natural weapons," continued. "No claws, no venom, no armor. They are slow compared to their predators. They are weak compared to their prey. By all logic, they should have gone extinct millions of years ago." "Then how did they survive?" asked. His eyes grew dark. "They became something new, something that had never existed before on their world." He changed the image. Now it showed ancient humans, thin and nearly naked, walking across an endless plain. They became persistence predators. The room was silent. "Humans cannot run fast," said, "but they can run far. Their bodies cool themselves through sweating, which no other species on their world could do well. They can chase prey for hours, days, weeks if necessary." He showed another image, a group of humans following a large animal across open ground. Their prey would run and escape. The humans would follow. The prey would run again. The humans would follow again. They never stopped. They never gave up. Eventually, the prey would collapse from exhaustion and heat. Then the humans would walk up to it and kill it. Who had recovered and been allowed to observe, made a low sound. They hunted by walking. Yes, they were not the fastest, they were not the strongest, but they were the most relentless. Nothing on their world could outlast them. Thought about in the crucible, walking past the fallen, walking past the grounded, walking when every other species had stopped. "What else?" he asked. Changed the images again. Now they showed human wars, cities burning, armies clashing, weapons that did not recognize. "Humans developed tools quickly," said. "They lacked claws, so they made knives. They lacked armor, so they built shields. They lacked venom, so they created poison." The images grew worse. Explosions that leveled mountains, clouds that spread death across entire regions. "Their wars killed hundreds of millions of their own kind," said quietly. "In a single century, they fought 2 wars that together killed over 100 million humans." Hissed in shock. "They killed each other, so many." "Yes, and they kept fighting. When one war ended, another began. They rebuilt their cities and then destroyed them again. Nothing stopped them. Nothing discouraged them." Showed images of humans climbing frozen mountains, crossing burning deserts, diving into the deepest parts of their oceans. "They explored every part of their world," he said. "Not for resources, not for survival, often just to see if they could. They climbed mountains that served no purpose. They crossed oceans that led nowhere. Humans died by the thousands in these explorations. Others followed anyway." The final image appeared, a human standing on an airless surface. Behind him, a blue planet hung in the black sky. "They walked on their own moon," said. "Not because they needed to, not because it gave them any advantage. They did it because another nation of humans said they could not." Silence filled the room. Spoke first. Why did the Coalition Council admit them? If they are this dangerous, why give them access to our technology, our training? Turned off the display. His ancient eyes swept across the instructors. Because they asked, he said simply, and because the council feared what would happen if we said no. The meeting ended. The instructors left in silence, their minds full of new and troubling thoughts. That night, Commander walked to his quarters. She was awake doing push-ups on the floor. Her body still bore marks from the crucible. Bandages wrapped her feet. Bruises covered her arms. She did not stop exercising when he entered. I have learned about your species, said. Your history, your wars, your nature. Kept counting under her breath. 47, 48, 49. You are persistence predators, continued. You were designed to chase prey until it died from exhaustion. That is why you finished the crucible when no one else could. 50, 51, 52. Your species killed 100 million of your own kind in a single century. You walked on your moon out of spite. You are not what you appear to be. Stopped at 60, she stood up and faced him. Sweat dripped down her face. Her breath was steady. You already knew what we were, she said. You had our records. You knew our history, but you did not believe it until you saw it yourself. Was quiet for a moment. What are you? He finally asked. Smiled. It was a strange smile, not cruel, not proud, just knowing. We are what happens when a species refuses to die, she said. We are what evolution creates when nothing else works. We are the ones who keep going when everything tells us to stop. She picked up a weight and began doing curls. Now you understand, she said. Now you know why your council fears us. Watched her for a long moment. Then he turned and left without another word. Behind him kept lifting. She did not stop until morning. The final assessment was supposed to be simple. 20 cadets would board an abandoned orbital station and fight against training drones. The drones used stun weapons. The station was old but safe. No real danger existed. That was the plan. Entered the station with 19 other cadets. Among them were familiar faces, the with silver eyes, a young named, several and who had survived the year of training. The exercise began normally. Drones appeared in the corridors. Cadets moved in teams, clearing rooms and securing positions. Everything worked as expected. Then the station's airlocks sealed themselves. Red lights filled the corridors. Warning sounds screamed from every speaker. The cadets looked at each other in confusion. This is not part of the exercise, said. The first real shot came a moment later. A cadet fell, a smoking hole in his chest. He did not move again. Live rounds, someone screamed. The drones have live rounds. Panic spread like fire. Cadets ran in different directions. The drones followed, their weapons no longer set to stun. Grabbed his arm and pulled her behind a metal pillar. We need to stay calm, said. Calm, silver eyes were wild. The drones are killing us. More shots echoed through the station. More screams followed. Looked around the corner. She counted 4 drones moving down the main corridor. Behind them, 3 cadets lay still on the floor. The drones are malfunctioning, said. Her voice was steady, quiet. Their targeting systems must have failed. They think this is a real combat situation. What do we do? Was already moving. We survive, follow me. She gathered the surviving cadets one by one. Some were hiding, some were frozen in fear, some were wounded, found them all. 17 cadets remained. 3 were already dead. They took shelter in a storage room deep in the station, sealed the door and turned to face the group. Listen to me, she said. The Academy knows something is wrong. They will send help. We need to stay alive until they arrive. How long? Asked. The young was shaking. He had never seen death before. I do not know. Hours maybe. We need to organize. She split the cadets into groups. The strongest guarded the door. The fastest would act as scouts. The wounded were moved to the back of the room. One cadet had a shattered leg. He screamed when they moved him. "I need something to bind this," said. Handed her strips of cloth. Worked quickly, wrapping the broken leg tight enough to stop the bleeding. The passed out from pain. "Where did you learn this?" asked. "All humans learn basic medicine," said. "We break easily. We need to know how to fix ourselves." Hours passed. The drones found them twice. Both times organized the defense. Both times they drove the machines back. But their food and water ran low. The wounded grew weaker. Fear spread through the group like poison. "We cannot wait here forever," said. "We need to fight our way out." "We would lose half our number," replied. "Maybe more." "Then what do we do?" Was quiet for a moment, then she stood. "There is a manual override for the station systems," she said. "In the command center on level 3. If I can reach it, I can shut down the drones." "Level 3 is full of drones," said. "You would never make it." "Someone has to try." "Then let me go, I am faster." Shook her head. "Your wings do not work in these narrow corridors. I have the best chance." "You have the worst chance. You are the slowest one here." Smiled. It was a tired smile, but real. "I am also the one who does not stop." She took a weapon from a fallen cadet. She checked the charge. She looked at the sealed door. "Keep everyone alive until I return," she said. Then she opened the door and walked into the corridor. The drones found her almost immediately. She did not run. She walked forward, firing at anything that moved. A shot hit her shoulder. She kept walking. A second shot hit her side. She kept walking. She moved through the station like something that did not understand pain, like something that did not know how to quit. 4 drones blocked the path to level 3, destroyed 2 of them before the others hit her leg. She fell, then stood again. She destroyed the 3rd drone. The 4th shot her in the chest. She fell again. For a moment she did not move. Blood pooled beneath her. Her vision went at the edges. Then she heard words in her memory. Persistence predators. They never stopped. They never gave up. She stood. The 4th drone fired again, dove forward under the shot and jammed her weapon into its sensor core. The drone exploded. The command center was 10 meters away, crawled the last few steps. The override panel was simple, 3 switches and a button. Her bloody fingers found them. She flipped each switch. She pressed the button. Every drone on the station shut down at once. The airlocks opened. Rescue ships flooded the station with soldiers and medical officers. Commander led the team that found. She was sitting against the wall of the command center. Her uniform was soaked with blood. Her face was pale as snow. But she was still holding her weapon, and she was still conscious. Knelt beside her. He looked at her wounds. 3 shots should have killed any other species. She should not have been able to move, let alone walk. "How?" he asked. "How are you still standing?" Lifted her head. She smiled at him. It was the first real smile she had ever given him. "You measured us by what we lack," she said. Her voice was weak but clear. "No claws, no armor, no venom, slow, weak, fragile. You never asked what we have instead." "And what is that?" "We do not stop." Her eyes met his. "Ever. We chased prey across continents. We survived ice ages. We split atoms. We walked on our moon because someone told us we could not. We burned our own world and still kept fighting each other. Then we rebuilt." She set down her weapon with shaking hands. "You know why the council admitted us, why they gave us a seat at their table." Her smile grew wider. "Because you fear what we are, not what we can do, what we will do. You have seen 1,000 species rise and fall, but you have never seen anything like us." She leaned forward, and for the first time in his life, Commander stepped back from a wounded opponent. "We are the species that does not know when to quit," said, "and now we are out here with you, forever." Medical officers carried her away. She survived. Of course she survived. When the cadets returned to the academy, was given new quarters, the best in the building. Her equipment was replaced with the models. Her file was marked for command training. And the instructors never laughed at her again. Months later, Park received Commander's official report on Cadet. He read it 3 times. Physically inferior, sensorially limited, tactically unorthodox, recommended for immediate advancement to command track. Do not underestimate this species. Do not provoke this species. They are not what they appear to be. The final line made him smile. They are what we feared they would be. He closed the file and looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, humans were taking their first steps into a galaxy that did not understand them. The galaxy would learn. They always did.